Another tool that you can use for self-awareness is silence and meditation. We are so distracted all the time, every day, and we don't have enough time to sit and think or not think. Just allowing our minds to be silent. And, some of my most amazing achievements have happened after I have spent a long time reflecting, leaving the radio off in the car, not turning on the TV, sitting and contemplating. There's so much to be said about that. And it's really responsible because you're allowing yourself to take a break mentally. And when you take a break, sometimes the most happens, which I know is so counterintuitive, but it works. Slowing down and focusing on values. I hear so many people that are like, oh, I just can't, I just have to do this, I have to have this going on. And, so we make excuses. When we don't really know our values and we're running around with our heads chopped off and we're doing this and that for other people, and we don't have time to do those things that we love, that's an excuse. That is you not being honest with yourself and saying, okay, but how can I carve out that time? How can I not, do this other thing that's taken up 100% of my time? Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's just my life because it's my job. It's my work. Well, I know what my values are, and I know that they, require me not to work. So I don't have a whole lot. Brett and I, we live very simple. We don't buy a whole lot. I don't go places, a whole lot. I try to live as simple as I can. So living simply is another tool for self-awareness. You have less distraction. You don't have as much to take care of, which I love is one of the reasons why a lot of the younger generations are living more simple. It's so smart. It's so smart because you don't have to make $100,000 a year to take care of your $80 million house or whatever. You're not living under the thumb. You're not living beyond your means. And so you're not being controlled by your things. And I feel like so much of us are just victims to that because we want to be as cool as our neighbor. We want to have as cool of a car, as our neighbor. I drive a 20-year-old car that needs minimal work per year, and I don't have a car payment, and I haven't since I was 24. That's my choice. That's because every time I have a problem with it, instead of saying, I need a new car, I have a dedicated person that I know will help me fix it. And, so we make excuses all the time because we're like, oh, well, I prefer to have the new thing. I'd prefer to be comfortable. Sometimes being self-aware and knowing your values makes you realize that, sometimes you have to be a little uncomfortable. Sometimes that's good for you. Okay, so that's my soapbox because I have strong feelings towards that. And, if your values are to live in comfort, then, and you need to have a job that makes a certain amount of money, then you'll do whatever it takes to do that. And so that kind of goes back to my whole knowing what you want out of life, it's important. So we're all different. For me, I try to live simple. I know from a lot of other people's point of view is that my life looks very complicated and crazy, but I am so happy living it. So, we don't know the inner workings of some people's households and lives sometimes, but if you're looking to resituate or move around your time and how you use it, start with your values. And this is all about being self-aware. So anyways, I have a little list I have going today because I didn't want to forget anything. Gaining skills is a huge one. We go to college, we get in debt, we get out of college, we might have a career, we go back to college for more money. It's this cycle, and if you're in it, it's okay. If you want that, that's great. But what I've realized in this time and age with our cultural revolution happening and with everything, all the institutions being so broken, we don't have a whole lot of skills, as a person. So, like Brett's like, I'm gonna learn how to weld. I want to learn how to get my CDL license. I want to learn how to be a truck driver. I want to learn how to do electricity. So having these skills makes you more valuable. It makes you be able to be versatile. in whatever climate we are living in this economy. And it's so important these days, y'all. Researching and being a professor is a job that it might be for some people. But if you want to be able to go out and have complete control over making money and doing things that you love, then sometimes that doesn't require a degree. We're so stuck on this mindset that we need to go to college. I'm sorry, I'm a big proponent of the fact that you don't sometimes. Learning skills that are so simple, they don't have to just be big skills like trades and such. Learning how to snap, my little one's learning how to snap. I'm like, go for it. Learn how to close one eye, learn how to raise your eyebrow, learn how to hula hoop, learn how to ride a bike, learn how to skate. It's so arbitrary, it seems, but it's also so important because we get so lazy in our thinking, we get so lazy physically, which brings me to my next, self-awareness tool is being healthy. Don't let that be someone else's job. That's your job. And I'm holding everyone accountable in this coffee chat right now. You are responsible for your health, not the doctor, not your neighbor, not your parents or your children. What you eat, how you eat, when you eat, how you exercise, all the habits that you could cut out, that's on you, okay? So I'm not talking about health in terms of inheriting diseases or genetics. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about making choices that affect your health in a negative way. We all have the ability to be more healthy. I can't afford a gym membership, so I do YouTube videos in my living room. I don't really care for weights, so I just use my body weight. We make all these excuses of, oh, well, I can't, I don't have the place to do it, and my kids, that's a big one, my kids. Well, my kids watch me work out sometimes, sometimes I have to just do it. And, and I watch my little girl dance around while I'm doing my calisthenics and, make it a thing, that it's a family thing. We definitely incorporate being active with our family. It's so important, y'all. Don't wait until you're older and say, I should have not smoked so much because now I'm really unhealthy. And then, it costs a lot to be unhealthy. It's so cheap to be healthy. This is why our healthcare system is destroyed right now, because nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to say, okay, just quit doing this thing. You don't need cholesterol medicine. Just quit eating the fatty foods. Okay, that's my soapbox on that. Gain skills. Be healthy. Learn to be healthy. Learn to care for yourself. There are no excuses. Be a strong individual. Do the work. It takes a lot of work to be self-aware. But if we're all self-aware, then we can rebuild our communities and we can rebuild the American identity. And we don't want to do that at the mercy of our government. We don't want them deciding that, right? Because all they care about is money and power. So we are the ones that have to take it in our own hands. It is our job in our own communities to say what's important to us. This is a conversation I literally have with people every single day. No one's saying it, and I'm saying it right now. Don't be a victim. Quit trying to be like, oh, this is what I believe, and, and I'm being victimized, and, don't hate me for how I am. Who cares? I'm not out there broadcasting everything that I feel or believe because that's personal. Like, I don't need people to believe what I believe. That's not important. So being a victim just literally stops self-awareness in its tracks. It completely it takes away progress. There's no way you can grow from that if you're always the victim. Simplifying your life, I already said. Don't get caught up in the politics and the media, y'all. It is literally an agenda, okay? And for those who are wondering, I have no agenda. I'm not going to blast my beliefs on here. But I can tell you that I don't have a political party. I do not have a lot of things in an agenda form. I simply want people to think more about who they are in this world, in this country right now. So the media has an agenda for you. And I feel like they're dividing us right now. And are we going to let that happen? That's the big question. I feel like it's our duty to stop fighting over nuances and little things and big things too, and focusing so much on what these political parties are saying, and actually make some progress happen, some real work, some real life work. Like, how can I be a better person in my community? I come across so many mean people every day, so many rude people. And I think, like, why are they so angry? Like, why are they so mean? Why can't we just have a little bit more love and compassion for each other? And I think, oh gosh, Ashley, you're being so idealistic. Like, this is such a, it's said all the time, right? We say it all the time. But is it really something that we're doing? No. And I feel like the media and the political situation in our country is keeping people from really remembering the important part. And it's about loving each other, y'all. It's about accepting each other for who we are. And instead of focusing so much on how we're different, let's focus on how we can all be Americans together. Let's focus on the goals that maybe were set forth a long time ago. Let's focus on having the ability to have an opinion. Thank God that there's a place on earth like that. Is there anymore? I don't know. But this time and age is so super important. And we have to wake up. We have to wake up and stop sleeping. As my sister would say, we're under a spell. And you can actually visit her page on Instagram, Break the Spell, @Break the Spell. It's something